Hi, Tiny Hands, Big Dreams. So today we're going to talk about our property that's for sale. Um, we ended up buying this property that was for our investment visa. It is near Zamora. It is, 40 acres?
Yeah.
40 acres. Has water on both sides. It's lovely. We ended up not using it. So we fell in love with this little community where we're at. And we bought a second property. We didn't have a budget for a second property.
Long story.
Long story. So our first property, we're gonna turn over to somebody else. So it's 16 and change hectares, 40 acres. It is just above Zamora. I'm gonna put a picture up from Google Earth. As you can see from this picture, it's the top of the mountain to about midway down. From the top of it, you have a vista point of the entire city of Zamora, which is an incredible view if you wanted to build something up there. Let's see. Um, Access. So there's a road that goes all the way from Zamora that's well maintained to the bottom of the hill. And then there's currently no road up the hill from that access road. Now, we did talk to the neighbor, more than one neighbor, but there's a neighbor who was below and to the right who actually turns out used to own that property. His family did. They used to own the whole mountain, I guess.
It's pretty common here.
It is pretty common. And we said, hey, we'd like to see if this was a good way to put a road in. He was super open to it. We walked the whole property. We hiked with him he dropped what he's doing. He's like, yeah, let's go. Let's like a hike up and look around. Had a great hiking day. Saw cool stuff. Um, he's already started a road up his property, so it'd be possible to extend that up his and cut over. He's open to it, so that would get it access. There's power potentially. There's a bunch of properties below it that are owned by Canadian guy, American guy. Um, we've only heard that he was there once. He built a house and he hasn't been there since. But he had power got to his property, so that's um, you know it's super short if you wanted grid power. Anyway, it's a lovely property. We're just not going to use it. So if you want an investment visa, temporary to permanent residency, you need to have a property of a certain value. This one qualifies. You could choose to build on it. You could choose to open an Airbnb at the top of the mountain with crazy views.
Lots of options. You could go like crazy super off grid and just become a hermit on top of the mountain. I think sky's sort of the limit there. Right now, it's relatively untouched jungle property, so it's just kind of a blank slate for whatever you might want to do with it.
There's almost none of it is cleared. There's like a tiny sliver against the bottom border where there's like 30 feet where it's been like cleared back, but otherwise it's all natural original terrain. So yeah, you can do whatever you want with it.
It also has water on property.
Both sides.
So there's two relatively large streams. So there's plenty of water.
Yeah, there's people below those streams that actually pick those streams up and they use them for their drinking water. You'd have access all the way up.
Yeah, and this property's at the top, so you'd have no one above you, which I think is always a
uncontaminated water. Yeah, it's a lovely area. We have all the paperwork. We had a survey done. When we bought it, the original survey was very, very old. So they had to do an updated survey with modern equipment. So we had all that done. So that's on record. Yeah, we have the paperwork. It's called the Escutera, all the official legal stuff you need you can legit own the property. And there's differences in Ecuador between an actual title where you own it outright and what's called articles of direction. You generally want to avoid the articles of direction. You don't actually own it. You sort of just get the right to use it, but somebody else owns it. It's kind of like renting.
Which not only causes potential issues down the line, but it doesn't work for an investment visa. And if you ended up buying one of those for an investment visa, you would be completely out of luck.
I talked with a lawyer who specializes in that, and he has had to go and argue with the immigration to try to let that be acceptable, and it's a huge argument every time. It's best to stay away from the articles of direction. Just get a title to whatever property.
So we have all of that paperwork. Everything's in order. The property taxes are obscenely low.
I went in to pay
So low
them.
we don't even think about them.
I went in to pay them one day. I'm like, oh man, they're due, and then lady like totals it all up, this and that, and something, and it was like $12. Seriously? So I handed her a 20. She hands me change, and then she's like, "Oh, you have to go to the next booth and pay them." I'm like, "Oh, here it comes. Here's like the big property tax bill." Well, the next booth is the local firefighters, which I guess have like a small tax they charge everybody. So I show the guy the paperwork, and he goes, "Oh yeah, $2." I still had enough for lunch out of a 20. So there's a lot of people will sit on a property for, gosh, decades, generations even, because there's just no penalty to sitting on a property here and sort of speculating on it going up in value with taxes that low.
So measly as that is, it's all up to date. It's
Yeah.
all good to go.
If you're interested, please message us. We'll talk outside of the comments of the video.
Yeah.
We're available via WhatsApp. Happy to discuss it with you if you're interested, or
you can email. The email's linked down in the description, so you can just email us. It's the easiest way, and then from there we could go over to WhatsApp or something else to talk more about it.
Yeah, we'll give the ins and outs and whatever other information about Ecuador that we haven't put in our videos, I guess. That's about it. All right. Thanks for watching.